5. Emotional weather. How unspoken emotion shapes client behavior long before conflict appears. Every client conversation takes place within an emotional climate, whether it is acknowledged or not. Even in highly technical or transactional settings, emotion quietly influences what feels safe to say, how messages are received, and which interpretations gain traction. When this emotional weather is stable, communication moves easily. When it shifts, meaning begins to behave unpredictably. Professionals often treat emotion as something that enters the conversation only when conflict erupts. In reality, emotional pressure is present long before any overt tension appears. It accumulates through uncertainty, risk, expectation, and exposure, shaping behavior in ways that are subtle but decisive. Understanding emotional weather is essential to managing global client dynamics, because it explains why conversations derail even when words remain polite and intentions appear aligned. Emotion is present even when it is unspoken. Emotion does not require expression to exert influence. A client may sound calm while feeling constrained. They may appear cooperative while experiencing internal pressure. They may use neutral language while managing anxiety about outcomes, authority, or accountability. In global environments, emotional expression is often regulated by cultural norms. Some systems encourage visible engagement and open disagreement. Others prioritize restraint, composure, and indirect signaling. In both cases, emotion remains active, it is simply managed differently. When emotion is ignored, it does not disappear. It redirects itself into behavior. Pressure alters emotional tolerance. As pressure increases, emotional tolerance decreases. People become less able to hold ambiguity, absorb new information, or remain open to challenge. Messages that might have felt neutral earlier begin to feel demanding. Clarifications sound critical. Suggestions are heard as corrections. This shift rarely reflects a change in relationship. It reflects a change in emotional capacity. Under strain, people conserve emotional energy. They respond more quickly or more cautiously. They protect themselves from perceived threat, even when none is intended. This is why conversations that once felt collaborative can suddenly feel brittle. Emotional signals travel faster than words. In client interactions, emotional signals often land before content does. Tone, pacing, and responsiveness communicate emotional state long before meaning is processed. A delayed reply signals hesitation. A short response signals compression. A sudden increase in urgency signals anxiety or loss of control. These signals are not always conscious. Clients do not choose them deliberately. They emerge as pressure reshapes emotional regulation. Professionals who focus only on words miss these early indicators. By the time emotional discomfort becomes explicit, the conversation is already carrying strain. Multicultural norms complicate emotional reading. Reading emotional weather becomes more complex across cultures. What appears calm in one context may feel detached in another. What sounds passionate in one system may feel aggressive elsewhere. Emotional expression is interpreted through cultural expectation. This is why misjudgments occur so easily. A restrained response may be read as disengagement. An animated response may be read as instability. These interpretations say more about the observer's frame than the speaker's intent. Under pressure, people default more strongly to their cultural norms, making emotional signals both stronger and harder to interpret accurately. When emotional weather turns unstable. Emotional instability does not always announce itself through conflict. More often, it appears as friction without argument. Conversations feel heavier. Progress slows. Small misunderstandings require disproportionate effort to resolve. The interaction begins to feel effortful rather than collaborative. At this stage, many professionals attempt to restore momentum by pushing for decisions or clarity. This often increases pressure, further destabilizing the emotional climate. What is needed instead is stabilization. Stabilizing emotion before fixing content. Effective professionals learn to stabilize emotional weather before addressing substantive issues. They adjust pacing. They recalibrate tone. They acknowledge uncertainty without amplifying it. They create space for concerns to surface without forcing exposure. This does not mean indulging emotion or avoiding difficult topics. It means recognizing that content cannot land cleanly when emotional capacity is overloaded. Stabilization restores the conditions in which meaning can travel again. Why emotional awareness is a control mechanism. In global client work, emotional awareness is not a soft skill, it is a control mechanism. It allows professionals to anticipate when communication is about to distort and intervene early. It reduces escalation by addressing the underlying strain rather than reacting to its symptoms. Those who manage emotional weather effectively are often perceived as calm, reliable, and authoritative. They do not absorb emotional turbulence, they regulate it. From reactive to deliberate engagement. Once emotional weather is visible, conversations become easier to steer. Behavior stops feeling personal. Frustration gives way to understanding. Instead of reacting to tone or silence, professionals respond to the conditions producing them. This chapter prepares the ground for the next stage of the book, recognizing early warning signs and preventing miscommunication before it takes hold. When emotional climate is managed deliberately, many breakdowns never occur.